Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tea Time. A bit of a quick intermission in the stream there during the introduction to this Tea Time, but here we are. We have finally arrived, and we have a really awesome show for you today. I'm joined by BaconBoy and Kahmeena to discuss gaming accessibility in Guild Wars 2 and whatever the hell we end up talking about during this discussion. So welcome, gentlemen, to the show. I think we'll just start off here with just a brief introduction. A bit of background on our characters here, the cast for the show here, and kind of what they're up to, what they're doing, and just their background in gaming and Guild Wars 2. So, without any further ado, BaconBoy, welcome to the show. Please let us know, what are you about? Give us a little bit of introduction.
Thank you for having me. So I got into Guild Wars 1, playing with a friend, doing like the 55 HP monk.
Good stuff.
And then I stopped. So I stopped like a couple of years, and then when Guild Wars 2 came out, I binge played it for like 3 or 4. Super got into it, and then all my friends with, so I kind of, and then I came back like a year ago. So, and now I'm doing like raids, fractals, all that stuff. So, pretty good.
Hell yeah. Okay. And then Kahmeena, same question.
Jesus, there's a lot. Yeah, I'm Kahmeena. You can call me Drew if you want. I started playing Guild Wars 1 back in elementary school, middle school, around the time. I played Guild Wars Factions. It's the first game I ever bought. Been playing since then. I used to main Necromancer, Minion Master. I miss it dearly. I cry every day in Guild Wars 2. Every single day, I cry. If you're wondering, I've been in chat, but if you're wondering for anybody at home or watching, whatever, I have cystic fibrosis. So it is a terminal genetic lung disease. I was expected to not live past 15 years old. The doctor told me. I am now 28. So, yay. But it affects every part of my body, from hands to eyes to tremendous amounts of pain. I'm in a lot of pain right now, but I'm really good at hiding it. Yeah, that's basically the short version of it. We'll go into more detail about this stuff throughout the cast, and I'm thankful to be here with everybody in chat, Teapot and Bacon.
Yeah, so I think that we can then start this off on this concept of accessibility. And this is something that BaconBoy has talked a lot about on his channel. A lot of his channel is on that topic. He's done some talks with Sneb as well covering this. And has also been in contact with Brazil, or Preston, as a lot of you guys may know him. So I think that we should definitely start here by kind of talking about what accessibility means. Because I think that a lot of the time in conversations, it almost gets like mixed up with difficulty. Right? But I don't think that's actually what accessibility means. So, BaconBoy, could you perhaps explain what accessibility means to you in gaming in general?
Yes. I classify it into like 2 topics: mechanical accessibility and gameplay. Mechanical is like, can you actually physically play this game? Of the colorblind modes is the effects LEDs. Like, I remember I was playing CM100, the night mode, and like I don't have I don't have Jesus, but I'm like, if anyone have Jesus, they physically cannot play CM100 because it will block. And So like different tools, different mouses, different keyboards. So it's like a broader range of stuff. Like it's a game responsibility and it's the outside company like Logitech raise responsibilities too. Then we get into gameplay accessibility, and that's difficulty. That's like difficult settings, making it really easy. To me, I think mechanical should be like 95% of the focus, and like gameplay, you should care about gameplay, but it shouldn't. But to me, it ruins. If you focus on everyone to be able to play, then it ruins the creativity of the game industry because every game you have to be like AFK Arena or something.
So, I think that's a really, really good point. And I think in a way, this is one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough, right? Like the key to accessibility, as you just pointed out there, is just making sure that players are able to engage with the mechanics and have the ability to kind of begin that learning process to overcome that. Right, as opposed to necessarily worrying about everything just not really requiring you to understand the game. It's more about the ability for the player to engage with the game to begin that learning process to begin with. Would you say that would be a good kind of a good approximation of what's going on there, and perhaps confuses people sometimes?
Yes, like you like so so like so like the pyramid of needs for psychology like to me can fit into give it you and video game where you have like mechanical accessibility at the bottom. Can people actually play the game? Then you have the emotion. You have the emotion need of a person, like, and to keywords that would be like the social aspect of the community. And then you finally you have like the gamer that you can be and you help others, and that's how I classify it. But if we don't get the mechanical down, then non people with disability or whoever won't be able to climb that pyramid.
Yeah. So, it really is key to make sure that players are able to just kind of get in the front door basically of the game. They need to be able to pilot the game, right? They need to be able to control it in order to play it. And that, as you say, is about making sure that there's physical technology that allows them to interface with the computer, right? It makes sure that you've got settings, right, to make sure that you can customize the way you control your inputs to make sure that that's feasible for every individual. And I think, I think we could kind of bring Kahmeena in here because I think you've got a bit of a, a commentary on perhaps some in-game settings. I think specifically a colorblind mode is something you wanted to bring up actually as one of those options that is kind of weirdly absent from Guild Wars 2 actually.
So I wanted to let Bacon do his thing, which is why I didn't want to go in. I wanted to get his full opinion. I differ a little bit, funny enough, from him. In terms of, I think Bacon is God, honestly, for anybody. Like, his mental is literally God to you. Like, I think he's a Greek god, and I am like little baby over here, comparatively, mental wise. But I think accessibility is options, right? It boils down to options. It's things like things that can help, and I'm not saying that every company, like, I think every company should do it. I don't expect them to do it immediately, but as we're in 2022, like, it's ridiculous not having options. Like, one of the things straight up is, how the is there not a colorblind mode? This game came out in 2012, right? There's not a single person at ArenaNet that has ever had any color blindness at all, like, whatsoever. Like, new Cantha looks terrible to me. I can't see shit across all of Cantha because everything is just this green color, and I'm red-green colorblind, and I can't see literally shit. There's nothing that I can do about it besides just go, okay, I can't download add-ons. I can't download anything that potentially might help because then I might get banned. You know, yeah, feels green, man. It's exactly what it is, except I can't see green, so like, it doesn't. I know, feels gray, man, is what it really should be. Feels muddy too. So yeah, reshader. What that person said, reshader does do. Brazil put out a video that I helped him with a bit, and yeah, reshader has been like mind blowing, or at least G-shade is what I use because I can customize it, and that has helped so much. Like, I was able to actually do greens. So yeah. Also, for the question, Teapot's green screen, I just see it just seems like on the Discord it's just gray, and on screen I don't see anything in his back, so it's fine.
Boom.
But yeah, they gave me an answer. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna go throughout and talk about like add-ons and accessibility and stuff, because I feel like if they're not going to give us this accessibilities and these things like World of Warcraft does with add-ons, and we're not allowed to use them, then they should be putting that in. And if they are, they should be working to improve it. Like, action camera mode is something that I would love to use to help, because I can't really move my wrist around too much or they start hurting, and I can't customize or keybind anything like the original mod was. I literally can left click and I go into action cam mode. That's it. That's all I get. It's ridiculous. It's frustrating. It's really what it is, mostly.
I think that kind of connects with what BaconBoy was saying, right? With this idea that the company can make tools for this, the game can make tools for this, and also the community can really help to make the game more accessible as well, right? And a part of that, as you mentioned in a game like World of Warcraft, is exactly that, right? Is the ability to create add-ons, right, that will allow you to customize your experience even further. Whereas Guild Wars 2, there has always been a very strict policy on no add-ons, really, right? It's very kind of a lot more locked down, right? Like only arc DPS is really allowed, and even that was pretty contentious back in the day. Now that's been added to the game, right? But anything else is not really allowed into the game. It's an interesting point, right? It's an interesting point because you understand that ArenaNet don't want you like making hacks. That's probably not good, and it would be very difficult to.
Yeah. Like, but here's the thing, like, I'm gonna make a counterpoint, right? Like, straight up, I'm afraid to get banned to literally macro an instant button, like let's just say Mechanist F1, right? Because I'm the Mechanist enjoyer here, right? I am the NPC. My mech does a thing. I am the NPC in this equation. If I want to press 1 and press F1, so I press less keys to hurt my hand less, right? I can get banned because it's 1 keystroke per 1 ability. So my Azeron gaming key thing that I spent $200 on, just like Bacon said and talked about, like accessibility and buying options and stuff like that, right? Is potentially useless and can't really super help in the ways that it's also designed, because I could get banned from my account that I've had since a child because I make a macro that presses 1 and F1 together.
Okay.
Like, how ridiculous is that? Like, I'm honestly curious on what do you guys have to say, or chat has to say about that. Like, how is that? What am I supposed to do, or what anybody who has problems is supposed to do when the game actively limits us from trying to help in ways?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to build rulings around this, because some of these things can be really, really powerful, but it's really hard to kind of build a rule. It would be very hard, I think, to manage this kind of stuff. I think that would be the counterpoint, right? Is that how would ArenaNet make sure that you're not doing anything naughty? I mean, we already have some like really big controversies, right, around players doing things that are slightly bending the rules. I think stuff like the big example, right, would be stuff like AFK farming, right? Like people are already kind of like breaking the rules a little bit there, like on the verge of it, for sure. Obviously, those are two completely different scenarios, but it would probably cause a lot of some potential issues down the line with macros that could potentially come into play. But yeah, I do 100% agree with you here. Like, it would be good if you had the option, maybe with some kind of in-game tool to perform this that ArenaNet could control. But I think that ArenaNet are very cautious around kind of like letting the player base run wild and just kind of create a bunch of things. I think in a way, to kind of stay on the same topic, but perhaps from a different angle, do you not think it's almost like a slight issue with Guild Wars 2 in the sense that it requires quite a lot of inputs compared to other games? I would say that Guild Wars 2, it just is quite a high actions per minute game to pilot, right? Obviously, some builds more than others, right? But it can be pretty intense for players to kind of get the hang of, and if there are accessibility problems there, that will only make things worse.
Like, watch Teapot. Anybody watch him play Elementalist. I cry. I literally actually cry because I've tried playing it and it hurts. Like, it functionally really, really hurts. After 30 minutes, I'm in pain. And then the counter argument, I guess, from the previous thing, it's like, why can World of Warcraft, I can make a macro that can literally almost do my entire rotation, and that's totally okay. But in the game that's more intensive and much more like action packed, I have to settle for literally nothing. Why? Like, not only that, like, think about it this way, like, we can't even move the UI, guys. We can't even change it to help us to do anything with it. We're literally stuck with whatever they give us and nothing else, and we can't do anything about it. Like, and yes, LE players, rest in peace. I feel sorry, and not really. I don't play it. So another thing is engineer. I can't piano, right? I don't. What do you want me to do, guys? Like, add-ons would change the game for everybody, for peoples to experienced players to people with disabilities. Like, but the internet's so afraid, especially because of the whole crap storm of ARC DPS that happened.
Okay.
So,
and
yeah.
I think in a way, though, this that there is something that can be done. I want to bring BaconBoy back in on this, actually, because I think this is where the community can certainly help, right? By looking at techniques that can be used to make certain professions slightly more accessible, right? And a little bit easier to play for all players. Exactly. I think, BaconBoy has talked a lot about the techniques and approaches that he uses to play with only one hand. And very recently, we even did some stuff in raids, of course, and that was mentioned in one of BaconBoy's recent videos. And look, I think it might be time to talk about Dragon's End in a moment here. That's going to be fun, that's for sure. But, where we even actually beat Doom CM, right? Using only one hand, which is certainly a very intense experience, that's for sure. But I think that for players ourselves, I think that we should definitely be looking at how we can make the game more accessible and try to help players with disabilities, right, and with problems with partying the game to be able to find techniques and methods that will assist them in doing so. So yeah, I kind of want to bring BaconBoy in on that. What do you think of that? I think you're muted, by the way, right now. Okay.
A couple of things before, like, I've been playing a lot of Connie Ropinder, and that's so much APM, a lot of person matching. But, yeah, the way I don't know how practical it is, because it would be taking people away from development, but like maybe have a small team that that's only work for community add-ons, and being like, okay, this is okay, this is not, this is okay. But yeah, again, I don't know how practical it is, but yeah, so like community builds, like I've been having a lot of fun with ArenaNet because all you do is hit 3 buttons and then auto attack.
Hell
So
yeah.
like, but and you with that you can get up to like 20k DPS, which is pretty good. But yeah, like I was yesterday I was getting training from this really good Guardian player, and we were going over like Iraq bending and Iraq Q to see if I like it or not. And so he was like, yeah, you have to double click F2 and like move your mouse. I was like, I can't move my mouse when I'm playing. He's like, oh, okay. And then dodge back. And that would do pretty much the same thing. Maybe do less APMs, but it still would be okay. So I was like, okay, I would do that. But like, this is sort of where what I would like from Hardstuck is so RA, the Raid Academy, have a mentorship program where people can fill out this form and then the mentors contact, and they have like a one-on-one meeting and go over the builds, go over the gear, go over the rotation, and maybe during that time, if they have any issue with it, they can theory craft about what they can do different, how to adapt it better, and yeah, I think that would be really good for like all stuff to look into.
Yeah.
And,
Wait, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, yeah, that would be like, because right now, I think I can play like over 20 builds, and like most of the builds, I had one-on-one tutoring mentor just to go over it, just to see what buttons I need to press, see what issues I might have, like raids, PvP. I contacted people and had like 1 hour here or there to like get down the rotation, get down the build, know what skills to switch out when. So I think that would be so helpful for the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. because I think that's a really, really big point there, actually, and something that is a really powerful tool that the community can use is this ability to kind of have that personal experience, right, and then say, okay, this is a limitation, right? How are we going to adapt this? Like, what are we going to change so that we can work around this limitation to allow this build to then become accessible? I think it's really important to note that if you're playing a build, you're playing a rotation or a certain game mode, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to do, oh yeah, this is the rotation. That's the only way you can do it, right? There's a lot of adaptation that can be made to make sure that players are able to kind of play the play style, play the build that they want, right? And certainly having that kind of personal one-on-one input is going to be really, really good for figuring out solutions to some of the challenges that might be found. So that's a very insightful point, I think, actually, and something that we should definitely be looking at.
I want to bring up something quickly. Oh, I'll let you go.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to make a video sometime soon approach to the Reddit. Say, like, if you want help with like any build, DM me, and like I know I like sit down with people for an hour or two talking about builds, talking about what's teaching. So hit me up and we can figure something out.
I mean, I might actually hit you up on that, to be honest with you. But I want to bring up something that somebody said in chat. And that basically the people in chat are going on about, like, like rotation doesn't necessarily mean that it's hard, or rotation, like, it's like it's ArenaNet's fault, or it's, it's the Snow Crows and all their, their things. Oh, we lost Bacon.
Oh, he's back.
There you go. He's back. So my thing is that it depends on the person with the disability, right? Like for me, rotations aren't hard. I used to play Mythic Raiding and WoW back in the day when my body wasn't decrepit like it is at this point. All right, and I'm literally dying. But yes, I like to make jokes, so I'm very dark humor. It's fine. I don't have a problem. If you got good CF jokes or disease jokes, I'm hitting me up. I'm good. I like them. Anyway, it's about 8 p.m. right? Like if you watch Teapot, he's literally pressing every button like this, and I'm like, why and how, and I'm gonna cry. Right? Like it's like you can see his buttons and you can see how many times you click. If you actually go into Guild Wars and you smash a button, smash the one button, you can actually visually see how many times you click the button. You can, like, rotation doesn't mean that it's hard, but if I'm sitting there and I'm pressing all these buttons and there's not enough buttons on the keyboard or whatever, yeah, it's gonna hurt after a while, like really, really bad, at least for me. And then it gets worse and worse overnight, over the raid time, where it's like I was good at the beginning, and then by the end of the raid, I'm 10,000 times worse than what I used to be. It's because of the way that Guild Wars 2's combat and stuff works. Also, Gray Fox, yes, I am salty. I don't know if that's a CF joke, but if it is, that's really good. If not, then whatever. I am very salty. So, like, I personally, to be honest with you guys, to everyone here, like, I hate DPS meters. I'm scared of them because I don't want to be the lowest person. And it's not like a game like Elden Ring, for example, where, you're expected to die and, you die and die again, and you learn and you get better, right? It's like I can't do that, right? I've got 9 other people who are relying on me to do something, to be good. I don't want to be that dead weight carry that's getting lower and lower in the DPS meter because over the course of the night, it's getting worse and worse and worse for me. And there's really like nothing I can do, which is why I bought this $200 controller to help me with that. It's been working so far. It's like it's a frustrating experience, and it's like I want anybody to realize that's not going to be everybody, but it's like don't lie. Every single person here has looked at the logs on a DPS meter and laughed at the person with the lowest DPS. That feels like shit because I've been in that spot before, crying because I'm in pain, literal tears in pain because I just can't. I'm struggling at the end of the raid night, or I'm struggling during the pug. Unless I'm in a guild with my friends, I get kicked from guilds. You know, it's a frustrating and like annoying experience. And I guarantee you, everyone in this chat has done it once at some point. So, yeah, I wanted to say that it's not necessarily that the rotation or whatever is hard. It's the fact that it's like the game expects you to press buttons at ridiculous rates. To get those kind of good numbers, or to get, that's what encounters are tuned for, unless it's just power creeped. Like, for example, I've never cleared Dune CM, to be honest with you. I've cleared every raid on normal and and stuff like that, and I've cleared quite a few of the challenge modes, but I've never cleared Doom CM. Not with at least my group, not with my friends. So, Doom came after TeaTime.
Doom came after TeaTime. Here we go. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's why, for example, personally, quickly, I only play support. Like, I fell in love with support and playing WoW in 14 because I learned that I just couldn't play DPS anymore. Just too many button presses. Right? Like, it just got to the point where it's just like, my hand actually, I went to the doctor because when I was playing Ninja in 14, my hand literally, like, it felt like it broke. I was in that much pain. I was crying. I have a wrist brace and everything that I used to play. Doing the rotation for Ninja in 14. And it's even worse in Guild Wars. Trust me. Like, 14's got three. You can fall asleep with its GCD and wake up, and you still.
Oh no.
And and Guild Wars is even worse. So, like, just trying to think of Ellie in that situation. Try playing Ellie and switching to attunements and using all your skills consistently.
Who plays Ellie?
True.
That's true.
True.
I thank you. Actually, thank you, Nate. Thank you for making Ellie so shit that I don't even have to think about playing it. Also, you nerfed the one thing because Teapot took 20,000 years to make the Heal Tempest build that I was in love with.
Yeah.
And he never made it, and I never played it.
Sad.
And it got nerfed, so I don't have to play it ever. Thank you, Aiden. We love you.
It's fine. It's gonna get buffed. Like, come on, copium. Summer patch. Let's go. Easy. Big buff. My guy's gonna be ready for it. Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be good.
In 3 years.
Yeah, very funny. Yeah, summer 2025. That's where that's gonna be coming through. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Did you think that this could be a little bit alleviated, not only with a change in community attitude, perhaps? Because obviously, like the issue you're describing there, partially that is absolutely, the game is just fast paced, right? This is a known thing about Guild Wars. It is a high action game, certainly. But like, I think that there are potentially some ways around that. Like, one, we should just not be assholes, right? Whoa, crazy!
Who would have thought? No way.
But two, I think that there's also ways, and I think there's some really good examples of this from Muru, from Snowcrows, actually, with the beginner rotations. I think these could also, in a way, a similar concept to that could double to alleviate this problem. So I'll explain what those rotations are. They essentially start from auto-attacking and then layer on more abilities as it goes up, and they're all like designed to be like good damage, right? It layers on like the most important abilities first, right? So if we had loads of resources like that, that could also be very helpful, or maybe it could be helpful. You tell me, right? If there were kind of optimized lower actions per minute rotations that might be more accessible to players who, again, have problems with pressing loads of buttons.
Yeah, that's what I tend to look for. I do want to start streaming to help at some point, to help out Hardstuck and help community and looking for builds and showing people like how I go through things and stuff. It's just hard when I can't play for long periods of time just because of pain.
Yeah. I know there's like an old build that I did where like it's very low APM. All you do like get into forward 3 to 4. And then when you overheat, you get 2 off cooldown. That's all you do. And like press your utilities. But And you can still do like 28K to 30K.
Mhm.
So it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's that's absolutely easily enough to get through the content, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
the content for Guild Wars 2, it's not tuned. You're going to want to be comfortable doing your rotation, but the tuning isn't super extreme, which means that I think that if you are a player that has problems with executing a DPS rotation for whatever reason, look, listen up, guys. You don't need to feel too intimidated by that. I think find yourself a supportive community and a supportive group of players who aren't going to be massive dickheads, and then you can get in there and farm that content good. Okay, farm it big time. Oh, let's go. And obviously, yeah,
Now,
like I think this is certainly something that we should be looking at more of, though, for sure, right? We're talking about these resources. BaconBoy's been working on resources for this stuff for a long time. Has been a long-time advocate, but it's certainly it's an issue that is, I think it's a lot more common than a lot of people think of, right? And that players need some resources to help them engage with the game in an efficient manner and get the job done. So this is certainly something that we should definitely be looking at as well. Hey, I'm really glad to have BaconBoy and Kahmeena onboarded to get it done, and hopefully we're able to actually provide a platform for that to make sure that your message gets out there, and the ideas and experiences that you've had will help kind of shape some of the content that we develop and the community that we form with Hardstuck. Hell yeah, okay, because seeing as that was brought up. Let's go. But obviously it shouldn't just be limited to Hardstuck, right? We should try and make this. We should propagate this as much as possible.
I want to help anybody. I honestly want to help anybody I personally can, in any way. I mean, I might not go through all the same things as everybody's like Bacon, but I deal with my own struggles, and everyone has their own little struggles to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Like another problem that I have that I want to talk about too. Yay segue.
Nice.
Is eyes, right? Like I have a problem with my CF like affecting my eyes to a degree. And like I struggle not only with the ability to focus in terms of stuff because of pain and a lot of other issues, but I tend to go like cross-eyed. I don't know what the exact term is. Maybe somebody in chat who's a doctor will tell me, because we're all doctors in chat, right, guys? So like visual clutter on the screen is absolutely just ridiculous. And why has Aiden not stopped this? Why is there so many effects that I'm blind literally looking at it? Like this is why like I want DBM for Guild Wars. Like there should be cast bars on the bosses. There should be call outs or things. Like it's like, oh, just look at the boss. Oh, okay, you mean under all the effects and it's hard to concentrate and focus because of pain? Oh, yeah, that when everyone looks like a supernova running around in effects and legendaries and spells and all the stuff just going everywhere, there's no visual clutter feature to turn down. Even turning down graphics, because I've had a crap PC before, doesn't do anything to fix that. It's just like, yeah, supernova infusions endgame. Yep, look like a star in the solar system, essentially. It's your goal is to just be as bright as possible.
Have you seen the new siege turtle? That luminous siege turtle
yes,
one? It's crazy.
The white one?
It is insane.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Actually, like imagine like 50 of those running down the map. It's gonna get wild.
Like I was able to raid in WoW, like Nemo said, like because of this stuff in World of Warcraft or even in Final Fantasy, dude. Like I use these add-ons to help me to fix my weakness. Now it's not like in the beginning where we talked about like making the game easier. It's a function to just help people who have problems, right? It's like why is there no cast time under the bar of the monster? It's like if you can't see the effect or you can't focus or whatever the case, you can look at that. It gets to the point where it's just like there needs to be, like as I said, like there needs to be more accessibility options, or like you need to allow us to create things, because the community will create things and wants to create things, but it's unable to, because ArenaNet has such a hard ass stance on this for reasons I don't know. Like why are the games okay with it but ArenaNet's not? Like I don't actually understand, and I would love to know as a game designer, like in terms of it, like what is there an issue with like security that they're afraid of? Like, what is the actual issue that prevents people like me from actually enjoying your game without having to put it down after maybe an hour or 2 hours at most because I'm crying in pain?
I think that a really good option that would be really nice. I mean, are you familiar, Kahmeena, with the standard enemy models in PvP? I think that would be really good in PvE if you know what that setting does.
Yes. I play World v. World, yeah.
Yeah, because that, well, and even that isn't quite perfect actually. I think, well, actually, you can do something similar in PvE by like turning down your model limit to like the lowest, but you still see infusions and stuff. But yeah, I think one feature that would be really good in PvE would be the ability to kind of hide other player effects, right? Certainly like all the crazy cosmetic stuff and all the like wild stuff. Maybe even all effects in general, right? So you can only see your own spell effects. That will be a really good setting. I believe Final Fantasy 14 has this, I believe, or at least the ability to kind of hide a certain player's effects if that's the case.
I think so.
So something like that could be pretty good, I think, in Guild Wars 2. I don't know how much work that would be, but to be honest, that would be quite nice because I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you guys remember this. You remember like all the back pieces that made like the entire game like drop 20 FPS when you're like near a bunch of mesmers with this stuff. Like, yeah, that would be quite nice, right? So my PC doesn't melt all these mesmers running around with these back pieces. So I think that's something that will be a really nice setting to add.
So anyway, so I want to bring up because Link said something. Link said something. It's very like important. They're saying, it's like those add-ons become mandatory in those games, right? Those add-ons become absolutely mandatory, and it's like yes and no. It's like in DBM, for example, the callouts where it flashes on your screen telling you, yeah, dodge. That I can understand where it's like, yeah, you probably don't want to put that in this game. For the you people would have to run it at that point. They feel like they have to run it. Makes it easy. That's fine. But putting a cast bar underneath when the boss is still doing his animation in the same way to tell us when to see it, or HP bars above player's health so I don't have to look at the top left because I can't even move the UI like I can in WoW. There's things that you can do to the level to make it accessible while not making it feel like it's mandatory for other players. There is a middle ground. You might have to find it for some things or whatever, but there still is a middle ground that you can take.
I think certainly in terms of UI customization, that wouldn't be a problem. I do think there is a legitimate point there that you just brought up, right? Like if you have like an add-on that calls every mechanic or tells you when a mechanic's happening, this is something that Arena I think does want to avoid. You'd end up kind of playing the UI a little bit more than I think they'd perhaps like. That's certainly true. But in a way, you kind of have this in a legal way now. You can't do this on every fight, but Guild Wars 2 Taco can actually do some of this stuff, actually. Weirdly enough, it does exist in a bit of a gray area, some of that stuff, but it doesn't technically modify the game, so it's legal. So yeah, I don't think ArenaNet would want to lean too heavily into that, and I think that's valid, but certainly the ability to make the UI easier to read. Like, I think one thing that this is just a flat out issue, not even a specific. This is an accessibility issue in the purest sense, in the fact that I think it affects basically everyone in the entire game. It's really hard to keep track of boons and conditions, right, that are on you and on your target, because you have to look down, right? You must look down to these like really tiny little icons, and to see the target, you must look up to see all the little tiny icons,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. The fact that like everything is put in place, so like I have the Mac to bars at max size, and it's still frustrating to go up, down. Oh look, I need to make sure that they're a good health. Oh down, where in WoW I have everything situated to the middle of my screen, so everything is there. I have none of that here. And then especially as I said with my, like going cross-eyed and focusing and stuff like that, and all the visual spell effects, it's hard as hell sometimes to be able to do things properly. And then, like, we're not even talking about like 8 p.m. or anything here. It's just like it just makes everything harder for no reason because we can't customize anything. Literally, we can't customize anything on this UI.
Yeah, I think that will be a big step up, right? Like if we had the ability to resize elements, move elements around, right? One thing that I really like about WoW, and when I was raiding in WoW, I could like have my character health and the target health in the middle of the screen, right? So it was like really, I could just look forwards and look at the game, and I could see all of that really easily. And yeah, straight up, it is way harder to actually track. And it's funny, right? You know, we were, you know, look, I kind of want to talk a little bit about Dragon's End actually, because I want to hear BaconBoy's hot takes on this, his spicy takes, spicy meatballs on this one. Because, you know, we were talking about how boons and conditions are really important, right? Like for the combat system, but the game doesn't exactly make it easy for you, does it? Because these minuscule icons that you've got to track, right? Like, oh yeah, that's really, yeah, that's super important, by the way. One of the most important mechanics in the entire game, by the way. But it's like hidden in the UI, and there's not much you can do about that to make it more visible. And I think that's a very, very key point in this discussion, is that UI customization, like the ability to do that just as a step one. We can talk about stuff like, you know, add-ons for cast bars later, but like step one, I think everyone could agree that will be a good thing, right? You know, we can argue and go back and forth on the pros and cons of further additions to the UI and so on, and you know what that in what ways that would change players' engagement with the game, like mandatory add-ons and so on. And I think that is definitely an issue that you're absolutely right. There's a middle ground on that could be found, I believe, that would mean that the game can be more accessible without altering standard gameplay as well. But at the bare minimum, I think UI customization would be a huge deal for Guild Wars 2, right? It will be a big deal. And you know, actually, I'm gonna. I feel like I shouldn't say this actually, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. Let's get a little frisky. You know, a little meme. I happen to know that it is possible to modify the Guild Wars 2 UI and customize it a little bit with third-party add-ons, right? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I'm gonna get banned though, just because I want to play the video game.
that's as far as I'm gonna go with that. Let's quickly move on from that. Let's quickly run away.
Hey guys, we're scared to actually, you know, what I talked about earlier, because we were just afraid to literally try to help people like me or Bacon or anybody.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna get banned. So, yeah, there's plenty of people who are willing to do it for ArenaNet if they don't even want to devote resources to do it, you know, like add a colorblind mode since 2012. But, yeah, like, oh, no, we can't talk about it. I'm sorry. We got to hush-hush because we're going to get banned.
We're all banned. No. Yeah. You know, all the footage is pre-recorded.
Later, it's banned.
It's already over for us. So, yeah, there's definitely one thing that I want to bring up here as well. And I think it will be fair to say, and you can tell us a little bit about this, BaconBoy, I think that almost, in a way, kind of prompted this talk. You know, we were chatting about it. You made a video about this topic that I think covers some of the same issues that we've been talking about and a few more as well. And it was the outcry over Dragon's End and the accessibility surrounding that meta. What are your thoughts on the meta event, on the boss, on the encounter, and kind of the frustration and the conversation around that?
So, if you notice this conversation, not once have we talked about gameplay difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't bring it up. We thought about the mechanical issues of accessibility. So I actually think, so I really like Dragon. I also think it should be, like, going forward, 50% should be of new maps, like, at least one new map per living story should be like Dragon.
Ooh.
Because it actually make Guild Wars 2 a MMO.
Although, can we do one thing? I agree with you entirely. Can we just make it less green? For the love of God,
this is the green expansion, dude.
No, another color than green. Only green, please. Just for the love of my soul.
They've got it. It's fine. It's out of the system now. No green ever again. This is the green expansion, so we're done with this one now. Well, actually, I guess we had Heart of Thorns too. We've had 2 green expansions now, so we'll move on after this.
With blue? please.
Yeah,
I can
blue?
see blue
Ah.
perfectly fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a blue expansion, please. I'm
But
desperate at this point.
Yeah, sorry, continue, Bacon Boy.
so yeah, so like because how many people join Hardstuck because of Dragon Inn? Do you know the numbers?
But how many people joined?
Yeah, because of Dragon Inn.
Oh yeah. So before before Ender Dragons, we were around 15,000 members in the Discord, and now we have 20,651. Right, so just under 6,000 members have joined since kind of like the beginning of the expansion. Right, so obviously it's a pretty big number.
Yeah,
It's a
so
lot,
like
actually.
the 6K joined partly, probably mostly because of Dragon Inn. To me, that's what an MMO should be, like with a group of people. So like, yeah. So but it also really we are at ArenaNet desires. Like if they want to make the player base better and smarter, then they have to make the game a little bit harder. But also at the same time, the community needs to make builds and help to increase their knowledge. So like also I was thinking, and I don't think boons and subgroups are basic knowledge.
They're not. I'll tell you that right now, just from my own experience.
So,
I do agree 100% though. Like, I think that more strikes. I love the strikes. Like, I'm gonna praise the hell out of Guild Wars right now. Strikes and Dragons are amazing. Straight up, they are great. I mean, now Dragons End's nerfed to the ground, like Ellie, and it's now much easier for the Peepos for her to clear it. But I think I think the game desperately needs more content where you're playing an MMO, you're playing with a group of people. Unless they want to make this game Guild Wars 1 again. I don't. They need to add more content to be able to work with one another. It's an MMO for a reason.
I would love like so with EOD they're doing it like this. I would have, but I think they could go even harder by like having strikes every chapter, and at the end of the chapter of the story Living World expansion, make a raid.
Whoa.
Have to.
Oh.
All right, I was just
Yeah, now that's the
I'm sorry,
copium,
what did he
dude.
say?
Now you're on the copium. And he's like,
What copium did he say?
he wants a raid at the end of the story every single time.
Oh, that's copium. I wanted to, but that's copium, bro. That's like finding a cure for CF at this point. We're not getting raids. That's the cure for CF right there.
Because I think about the POF killing Bavasor.
Mhm.
That would have been the perfect raid.
Oh.
I mean, that would be a perfect strike mission. Can they go back and add more stuff as strike missions in previous
think
expansions?
about fighting. Think about fighting Bavasor at the raid or the strike.
That'd be sick. Yeah, I would love to go back. Like, I think ArenaNet literally could just go back and just make a lot of those bosses strike missions and please literally every single person. Can we actually get a Zyten fight where we're not spamming the cannon and then that's all we're doing too? That'd be a good strike.
Yeah. But I just picture Bavasor, like that fight would have been perfect.
Yeah.
That would have been
that fight would have been amazing. Yeah. And this is kind of like this was my take on it as well. I with the open world stuff is that you know, you just brought up, Kahmeena, that boons and subgroups are not basic knowledge. You're absolutely, well, they're not common knowledge, rather. Sorry, then they are absolutely not common knowledge. But why is that? Like, what's going on there? And I think that this is a problem that ArenaNet does need to tackle. And this is where a lot of the conversation around Dragon's End was kind of around the difficulty and the game knowledge you required to beat it, right? That is another really interesting thing to talk about. Not exactly accessibility, or at least a different form of accessibility. In a way, it's like the accessibility to that knowledge is the problem here, right? Is that in most of the game, none of this stuff matters at all. I think it's really interesting. For example, you know, in open world, players don't really know about boons and subgroups, but in world versus world, they do. Why is that? Well, it's because in world versus world, it's much more important, right? Like, if you don't have subgroups in world versus world, someone's going to have 25 stacks of stability and someone's going to have 0, right? And that's just not going to be fun. It's just not going to work out very well. So because of the game's mechanics, it ends up being a lot more important. And, you know, I even saw this. There was some of this commentary about Dragon's End, is that some world versus world players were really confused that players were having difficulty with understanding boons and subgroups. They're like, yeah, we do this all the time. You know, our commanders always organize our squads. This is normal, right? This is normal. And I think that's a really interesting perspective that needs to be discussed here as well. And we need the game to perhaps express these mechanics. Exactly what BaconBoy said, that, you know, to try and push players a little bit in order so that they will learn these mechanics and they'll be more familiar with these concepts, which will then help them kind of lead on to other gamers, right? That will help you learn strike missions. It will help you learn raids even, right? Because you'll have this inbuilt knowledge of some of these core game mechanics that are going to be necessary to conquer some of the harder content in the game, right? And I think that, you know, content like Dragon's End is definitely good in that regard, because it doesn't require everyone to be a god gamer, right? You know, like some logs are coming out now, like boss logs with the boss. And in a lot of these encounters, like players are not, you don't have to have like super giga DPS, and certainly having a bunch of fairly experienced players can really make it go smoothly. But that's kind of what I like about the open world, is that you have this element where everyone can come together, you know, and just you have this really big community feeling, right? Where like you can have like super try-hard raiders with players who have never raided before, and they're just getting that kind of taste of group this epic group content. You know, I got to bring this up again because I just love this. We did Triple Trouble on the American servers the other day, and a level. And a level 50 Mesmer just happened to be there. Like, you know, 400 achievement points, never, you know, probably new to the game, like a few days, right? And he got involved in our group, and it was like, whoa, that must have been such a fun experience, right? Just to see this crazy event with all these players coordinating, right? Like, I just love that. I love the idea of that happening with stuff like Suwon, right, and Dragon's End, which is why I really went hard on Dragon's End, trying to say, right, let's get loads of commanders. Let's kind of show people the magic of this collaborative group content. And I understand that's not for everyone, which is absolutely why not every map should be that way, and perhaps maybe none should, right? Like I think, you know, maybe just making an instance version with 50 player limit, right, like, and using a squad, that would be a good alternative to still kind of have that. But I think I'd miss that. Just, you're meeting new people, right? Like, you know, you're gonna be exposed to all these different players in the open world, and if you instance it, I do think you lose that. It's a bit of a ramble there, so yeah, to like dig into that, guys.
I mean, you're 100% right. It's an MMO for a reason. Like, now, like, to go back to what you're saying, like, I thought when Tequaddle came out that they were going to push more of this because people loved it. It was hard. Remember Tequaddle back in the day? Like, when it first came out, like, I don't know why they didn't do more of that stuff. The reason why Peepos and PvE things don't really know about boons is because they don't need to really use it to clear the content, especially story. So give them that kind of content where they're, you know, it's not necessarily like it's hard, but teach people, do things that, you know, feel like you need to make the game. Like back in the day in EverQuest 1, you couldn't do shit without a group or people. You know, like you needed to talk to people, you needed to do things the right way back, you know, in those old school MMO days. Like game needs some of that. Now, granted, on the boon thing, I have a hot take quickly that I think alacrity and quickness should be gone from the game.
Wow.
Just straight up removed from the game. Just gone. zero reason for it, and it just makes things so much harder to balance and problems. Just literally take the 2 things and add it to buff every skill. You're done. That was it. You just removed alacrity and quickness.
So I have a few things
Mhm.
to say. So I did a strike like a few days ago, and we had an HP that was supposed to do quickness. He had no. We did Bone Skinner, and I was quickness too. My group was decent on quickness, and his subgroup had no quickness.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
so when we got to Whisper, the commander was like, "Hey, something is wrong. Give us your build." And like, he had no quickness on any ability, any trait. And then I was like, okay, you need to take mental potence. And then he gave him the trait. But like, that's like, knowing, like, in a group context, knowing what you provide is huge. Like, knowing what you do in a group context, because normal people play solo, so they don't know what abilities to bring. And something I noticed about fractals, uh, since ArenaNet took away ages from the mantra, no one playing any ages. I'm like, just playing advanced, they're like one skill, and it would be fine, and it's like normal. But like, no one brings advanced. Yeah, but I have a friend that did Dragon like a week ago, and like the commander was new. The commander was new. The commander was new. He was like watching your video about how to do Dragon. What while commanding. It was pretty good. And
Has it
then
on the
like,
other screen? Do this, guys. Teapot
yeah,
told me.
yeah, pretty much. That's pretty good.
That actually video is great too.
And then like they didn't get the kill. They didn't get the kill, but like everyone was like happy with their performance because they did better than normal. But like that type of style is like what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to be, communicating with players and just making sure that everyone knows what's going on, because the biggest divide in the Guild Wars 2 community that I really get from this, that is underlined for me, is the fact that players, it's not that they don't have the ability, and this is the thing that I would really want to hit on here. There's a huge difference between not being able to do something and just not knowing how to do it, right? And
Yeah.
I think most players are in the not know how to do it category. I think that, and a lot of players end up feeling like they're in the I can't do this category when actually they just don't know how to do it. And that's where players start to get frustrated and really, get upset, right, with the way the game's going. And I think the real key is identifying what are these key ideas and concepts that players aren't aware of, introducing players to these ideas and concepts, and then seeing if problems still occur, right? If you then still have issues, then you can look at then you can potentially like difficulty options. You can look at stuff like making, adjusting your build to make it easy to access and easy to play. But the real thing that's holding back most players in the game just flat out is that they don't know something. They don't know how the encounter works or how their build works or how squads work. And we as the players who, a little more hardcore, a little sweaty, We need to make sure that that knowledge is readily available, it's communicated well, and that players feel comfortable to ask questions and have the ability to learn, to overcome those obstacles.
I
That's
have
what I like to say.
I have a question, Teapot.
Mhm.
So I was playing Raid. I was doing strikes and raids. This game in my mind. A lot of PvE content is more about pattern recognition
Mhm.
than anything else.
Mhm.
Like if you understand the patterns of like the percentiles about the mechanics, like knowing the CC ball, the first CC ball of VG and the green happen at the same, knowing that they happen at the same time, like can prepare you more than like anything. Like knowing the patterns of like bosses is so helpful. Like the main thing that people need to get down.
Oh yeah, that is absolutely one of the key things, right? And and that is something that players, in a way, probably will be good to go on, right? Is that once you kind of have and this is something the strikes do really well, right? Like in the strike missions, it's all about just learn the mechanics, right? Like learn how the fight goes after you've done that. And if you have just like a good understanding of the Guild Wars 2 combat system, you're going to be able to get it done, right? Like pattern recognition and understanding how the encounter works and what's going to be happening is huge. And this is actually something that I think ArenaNet has really done well, actually, with not just with the strike missions, but the open world too. They've really added like loads of really good telegraphing, like green circles, orange circles, blue laser beam, right? All that kind of stuff. And obviously, color issues aside, like that type of messaging, that kind of type of telegraphing, I think that really helps players with pattern recognition and being able to not have to relearn, right? I think this was actually a really big problem with in a way, I'd say with raids to an extent. Like every single raid encounter kind of had its own telegraphs, so you had to learn it from scratch every single time, which is, that's doable, obviously. But I think what ArenaNet is pushing towards now is a much more standardized set of telegraphs, which will really assist players in, being able to take what they know and apply it to other content in the game. As you very correctly point out, pattern recognition is an absolutely key part of any PvE, right? In Guild Wars 2 or other kind of PvE experiences.
Yeah, I think they started doing this in like EOD at this point from the very beginning of like when you walk in EOD and they're like, you have to play a tutorial, even if you played everything beforehand. You got to learn how to dodge roll, how to use boons, how to do all this stuff. But like, they need to push that more, I believe, in the content more than forcing somebody, because if somebody doesn't care about the story, how are they ever going to know? The more competitive aspects you throw into it, not necessarily hard, it just needs to be like competitive to that degree. It's teamwork. That's how you'll get people to actually learn how to use the tools effectively that they have access to. At least they have access to it or at their disposal.
Oh yeah.
And going, oh, we need X. Okay, I can bring this to the table, and a bunch of other stuff like. But I think EOD is at least pushing in the right direction, and I hope they continue this. I really do. Just for everybody in terms of the game. I think it would literally help the game dramatically if it happens, if they continue to do it.
Yeah. And I guess the thing that I kind of round off there is that, gamers, you can do it, right? You have the tools at your disposal, right? And will help you to unlock the power within the game, right? This stuff is challenging, right? It's going to push you. And if you don't want that, obviously not everyone wants to be challenged. That's completely fair enough, obviously. But if you do, right, don't lose hope, right? Like there are communities out there that are here to help, right? And want to make things better. for the community. And I think, sharing this knowledge and kind of sharing our experience as more experienced and more veteran players is really key to kind of rebuilding the slightly fraught relationship between different areas of the community. There's a lot of tension there that I don't think needs to be there. Ultimately, everyone's on the same side and everyone wants to make the game a better place and make the game more accessible for everyone. In the not just the the actual gameplay element, but also on the actual mechanical way as well. So it's good stuff. It's very, very good stuff. And kind of on that note, I think there was something that actually came up very, very recently. BaconBoy, actually, there is a community that's being formed. I think it's Accessibility Wars, I believe, is the name of it. There is the website there, and there's a community for disabled players to kind of group together and share experiences and so on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this is for and I want to promote people with disabilities. So this when I posted a video, this Redditor to me, it commented saying like she had like some problem with the game. So I helped her with an open world management she also built. And then she created this Discord for people with disabilities to come up with low impact builds, guides, and so that's it. So if you want to join, that would be great.
Funny enough, I haven't actually joined the Discord yet. I need to.
Something to get in the
But I
mix.
have too many Discords to help out.
Yeah. I think, is there anything that we want to bring up? I think this is actually kind of a nice, wholesome place to start wrapping up, actually. Is there anything else any of you guys want to bring up specifically? Any kind of final thoughts on this topic?
I mean, yeah, Bacon, I'll let you go.
No, you can go.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that I said previously, I'm not gonna just rehash, but like, I think ArenaNet truly needs to make the decision in terms of they need to make the decide if they're going to put resources to help the community that needs their help. Right? Are they going to do that, or are they going to allow others and other parts of the community to do it for them? If it needs to be moderating, hell, I'll talk to ArenaNet if needed. I'll do whatever it is the case to need and help with discussion or do whatever. I'm always open. I don't have a problem talking to people. I don't have a problem doing anything. But like, there are people out there that are equal or worse than both me and Bacon. It's we need tools and help and stuff like that. We shouldn't be relying on having to buy. I mean, I definitely do think that you should use things, but like like the Azeron gaming keyboard thing that I had bought. But like there should be tools that either ArenaNet allows us to use or they get updated, like action camera. Another thing I know that was talked about in that Discord, I forgot what it's called. It's like voice attack, where it's you speak and your character does something, but like there's problems because like even the program will do like two actions. Like if you want to dodge backwards, you have to say dodge backwards, and it has to press W and S and V to dodge backwards, which is against their one action per thing that happens on the screen limit. So like either they need to ease up, they need to work with us, they need to do something, or they just need to allow the community to do things. Because I don't want to get banned, but I'm tired of being afraid to use like the actual mods and stuff like that will actually help me. I don't want my account that I've had since I was a child to be gone. Right? Like I really don't. I want to play the game and I want to have fun playing the game, and I don't want to be in pain when I play the game. Like, I go to play games to get me away from my life and my health that is constantly hurting me. I don't want to be put into a situation where I'm in pain even when I'm trying to get away from it and escape from it. It's just, I'll do whatever I need to do. I'll stream, I'll help, I'll gladly do whatever, and I'll talk to ArenaNet if needed, but there really needs, like, a foot needs to come down, at least on something, on one of them.
Okay. And anything else you wanted to bring up, Bacon? Kind of some final thoughts on this before we wrap up here?
Yeah. So can we talk more about the ArenaNet side? So I will talk about the community side. Just remember, like, everyone is trash at this game. Everyone is trash at this game. So like, so it is okay to be like, whatever skill level you are. Just remember, like, I guarantee if we get all the mechanic stuff out the way, then people with disabilities can easily be like at the 3 skill level, like not so good, average, and very good. You just need to get rid of all. You just need to get rid of all the barriers. And something funny that I kind of want to bring up is, I've been working on I hope this is okay, probably is, but I've been working on my stream, and I asked my real life friend to do a voiceover for the sub alert, but he's very busy. So if anyone wants to send me a MP3 of you saying walking is for the poor, and with like a laugh at the end, that would be good. But
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's certainly another really, really important point, very wholesome thing to end on, right? I think that from a community side, there's almost like it's well-meaning to an extent, but I think that many players in the community, perhaps players without disabilities specifically, will almost assume that disabled players can't do certain things, right? And I think that it's well-intentioned, but it's important to understand that a lot of the time, disabled players can do things. We just simply need to make sure that there's nothing in the way. Like, as you said, right, removing barriers that do cause these limitations to become more problematic is really important. And as the community, we should be looking to remove those rather than saying, "Oh yeah, you just can't do this, right? You can't do that." Well, we're going to make it easier, right? And I think you brought this up earlier. Not once did we talk about difficulty. We were speaking. Okay. We were speaking specifically about just making sure that the accessibility is there on the mechanical level and removing barriers that prevent players from engaging with the game. And I think that's a really important thing. And a very fun idea.
Fucking Guild Wars is such a hard game. Like,
It is a hard game.
Yeah,
it's true.
The hardest game of all time. They should nerf Ellie. They should nerf, Dragon's End. Too hard. Just way too hard.
Yeah.
Nerf all raids too while you're at it. Can we nerf World v World any more than it is?
Even more? You just want to delete it from
Yeah.
the game or what? Like, what are you thinking?
Maybe. I'm thinking about deleting NA as well. I'm from NA too, so
Just deleting NA, the entire NA server.
delete the whole NA server, especially after the triple trouble we had. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty intense.
But it's I'm very proud of everybody, and I'm very proud of I'm inspired by Bacon. Bacon kicks ass. Straight up.
Giga gamer, dude.
Everybody in the chat, I want Bacon emotes. That dude deserves everything. That guy makes me look like I complained about nothing at this point. Straight up.
Okay. So, I think that will just about do it for this tea time. So, in that case, gentlemen, it's time to sell out. Okay, a little bit of a sellout here, of course. I want to see people spamming the !hosts command in the chat to get some links of it. Will be in the YouTube video for this, of course, too. But yeah, kind of as a bit of a final outro, Bacon, let us know, what are you up to these days? What content are you creating? Where can we find you online? All that kind of good stuff. It's time. It's your opportunity to let us know how brilliant you are on all of your content creation outlets.
So, Twitch, YouTube, BBBaconboy, Twitter, BBBacon online. I do streaming sometimes. I do it more free doing YouTube. So I have one video almost ready to go to do some editing. That should be out in the next couple of days. I want to do that video about helping people. That should be out soon. Yeah, that's where you can find it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. DM me on Hardstuck if you need to talk about builds or whatever.
Boom. Hell yeah. And Kahmeena, where are your streams, dude? I remember talking 2 months ago. You're like, I'm gonna stream, bro. I'm gonna go hard. I'm blasting. What's going on?
All right.
What's up?
I got COVID, almost died.
That's a good excuse.
Then I went to the hospital. I almost died again. Literally, no joke. I had an issue with my feeding tube, which it's right here for anybody. But yeah, I'm not gonna show it. Yeah, it exploded, and I went to the hospital, almost died. And I've been in a lot of pain because doctors told me your neck and back are completely fucked from coughing all your life, and we didn't expect you to live this long. So, yeah,
I'll take
that. I want to get to streaming, which my username, because sadly I had to put an underscore because for some reason my name was taken, and I don't understand how or why. But yeah, I'm gonna start streaming at Kahmeena, Ka_Meena. And I just want to help anybody who has disabilities come in. I'll do content with you. I love doing content with other people. I hate playing the game by myself. So any more reason to play as long as I can. And I'll probably play other games too. You can watch me die over and over as a disabled person at Elden Ring and stuff. So.
And farm hard with the mech.
I'll probably start making a Twitter and stuff like that as well. But yeah, you'll find me soon, and I'll help out any Hardstuck members and do Dragon's End content or whatever.
Hell yeah. Okay, well, I'll allow that excuse for now. Okay.
Just for now. That's fair. All right.
Yeah, just for now. Well, I'll let you have that one. Just this once.
No excuses.
Oof.
No excuses.
No excuses.
Damn
oh,
right.
damn right. Next time I'm streaming from the hospital. That's done. That's it. I'm streaming from the hospital. I'm in a hospital bed, and I'm literally hooked up to everything, and I'll be like, "Oh, Bacon said no excuses." Get me that shit. And this is why Bacon's a god over, right? Or is it down there? Whatever. Yeah, he's God. He's a absolute Chad. Got one Giga Chaz in the chat.
Giga Chad. Hell yeah. But that is just about going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for hopping on board, guys, and giving us a really important perspective that needs to be talked about. This is a very key issue in gaming in general, right? Gaming, I think the way you put it, was very, very good here, Kahmeena, that you know, that gaming there's an element of escapism to it, right? That I think is very beautiful, actually, and making sure that that's possible for all gamers and all players, all humans, as it were, even. Is really, really important. Maybe even animals too. Got to get we got to extend it out. Got to make it even more global than it already is. Okay. But there it is. Whoa, we got some things happening over there as well. But anyway, I'm glad you
somebody
enjoyed.
Somebody in chat asked for CF has a gene therapy medication, which is why I'm not coughing that much. It's called Trikafta. It's a huge advance to CF. And someone said, I'm wondering if I'm not on it, so I wanted to show. Yes, I am on. I do have CF. I am not lying. I am actually dying. This is actually the case. It is big sad. F in the chat, boys.
We all dying.
Yeah, there you go. See, like I said, Giga Chat, literally.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We really hope you on that positive note. We're all dying.
Yeah. Actually, that is great. Somebody put C and then F in capital. Nice. I'm gonna use that now. Amazing.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed the show here as well. You definitely check out these two awesome guys on their social media and check out their content. I'm sure we're seeing a lot more from them soon. Of course, if you enjoyed this, follow the stream here as well. Subscribe if you like throwing money at the screen for no reason. And follow all my social medias too. Okay, Twitch Prime. Yep, you're damn right. But thank you guys so much for being here. Hope all of you on the chat, enjoyed it. And of course, really appreciate you being here. Okay, we'll see you next time on our respective channels about the place. But until then, thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, day, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are right now, wherever you're watching this. And of course, okay, take care, and we'll see you next time.